Recently, I've been way too enthralled within Xenoblade 3's new DLC expansion, Future Redeemed, to pretty much do anything else, and after about missing 2 weeks of uploads, I was trying to think of what would be best to come back with. To be honest, I just overcomplicated things, and it made what should have been a 1-week break extend way too long. With this video, I'll be creating new Paradox Pokemon based on the Xenoblade series, so of course, spoiler warning for all the numbered Xenoblade releases. Tears of the Kingdom also released while I was producing this video, which I've hardly put down since I bought it, which put this video off a little further. With that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about Xenoblade. I picked up 2 when I first bought my Switch, and it completely indoctrinated me into the wonderfully written world of Allrest. Rex was an endearing protagonist, even if he dresses a little goofy, and now, over half a decade later, my Rex stocks have finally paid out, with him being the downright most broken Chad character in the game in Future Redeemed. Way to show him a thing or three. But, having known the first thing about the Xeno series, the first issue making designs based on the series would be the contrasting complexity. Pokemon's art style is very simple, with black and white Kyurem being the poster child for as over-designed as a Pokemon can get, and then we look to Xenoblade. There is so much going on here. Sure, while I could do something simple based on the game's normal enemies, most characters in the games aren't that complex mess that PNEUMA is. I wanted to base the Paradox Pokemon I designed in this video on something underlying the entire Xenoblade series, the Trinity Processor. Compared to my usual Paradox Pokemon, I'd have to completely tone up the complexity of these designs. I honestly wasn't sure if I should include it in the same data pack as my other Paradox Pokemon, but that's something I'll have to worry about later. I just wanted to stop worrying about the complexities and just do what I wanted to do, and what I would get enjoyment from, which led me here. So without further ado, let's begin talking about our first design. Like I mentioned earlier, Xenoblade 2 was my entry point to the series, and still one of, if not my favorite games of all time, so I knew I needed to make a Pokemon specifically based on this entry. My thoughts behind these designs were to use a mechanical and computer-like elements of the Trinity Processor with the Future Paradox design ideas, which leaves us with only Future Paradox Pokemon in this video. While I knew what I wanted to draw for the PNEUMA core, I had only one hesitation. In creating a Future Paradox Gardevoir, wouldn't I just be rethreading Iron Valiant? In the end, I decided to just go ahead and draw it anyway. As I said, I didn't really want to worry too much about these designs, and I just wanted to have some fun. I referenced Iron Valiant's design heavily to account for the mechanical aspects of it being a Future Paradox Pokemon, while getting rid of most of the traces of Gallade from the design. I wanted to replicate the silhouette of PNEUMA's official art, for the most part at least. For the skirt part of the design, I referenced Curlia's art as well, incorporating that skirt design into this Pokemon. Iron Aegis, the Paradox Pokemon. Originally built as part of a larger computer, this Pokemon draws power from the lost device from whence it came, and uses said power in order to forward its inner baked ideals of positivity and preservation. This is Iron Aegis. Based off of PNEUMA's awakened form at the end of Xenoblade 2, I'm pretty happy with the result. I believe a fan of either original series could pick out my inspiration, which I feel is the goal with the piece. While nowhere near as complex as the official Xeno art, drawing in a more complex art style while retaining the look of a Pokemon was very difficult, but I feel like I've managed to hit a very solid middle ground in this design. However, this was for Iron Aegis. The next design I drew didn't come to me so easily. The Ontos core, Alvis, Alpha, whatever you want to call it, was a very different story than PNEUMA. While PNEUMA's overcomplexity left to many elements I could pull from, Alvis felt deceptively simple. While I initially considered making Iron Alpha a Paradox Gallade to counter Iron Aegis, I instead decided to make Iron Alpha a Paradox Lucario to better fit the character I was referencing. I went through a couple different iterations of this design through the span of about a week until I managed to sketch something I was actually pretty happy with. With most of the sketches I disliked, the simplicity of Alvis made it very hard for me to make something that didn't just look like a cosplaying Metal Lucario. So I thought harder. Having just beaten Future Redeemed, the form Alvis takes in the final boss as Alpha becomes heavily referenced for the body plan, and gave me a more complex design to draw elements from, whereas Alvis's base form couldn't. Iron Alpha, the Paradox Pokemon. Originally built as part of a larger computer, this Pokemon draws power from the lost device from whence it came, and uses said power in order to maintain the balance of all around it. Here's Iron Alpha, referencing Elvis, mainly his interpretation in Future Redeemed. The personification of the Ontos core gave me many more problems than PNEUMA did. While I can't be as confident it's instantly recognizable like with Iron Aegis, I had a lot more fun pulling from different aspects, and it felt a lot more like I was actually designing a Pokemon this time around too. Now, this is usually where I'd start cooking up our models, however that's not the case this video, as I'm going to be doing that in a follow-up video sometime down the road. This video's been continuously pushed back, so I'm just going to get the stress of not posting in a while out of the way. In the second part to this video, I'll be introducing at least 2 more Xenoblade-based Paradox Pokemon, as well as a gimmick that ties all these guys together in-game, so make sure to subscribe to see when it's finished, especially since YouTube tells me that most of you guys aren't actually even subscribed. But with that out of the way, Xenoblade's been a very important series to me. The writing strung chords with me since I first started playing, and that only rings true now more so. And coming fresh out of Future Redeemed, I'm excited to see where the series goes, as well as getting back to business designing more Paradox Pokemon. While there won't be an update to the data pack in this video, I'd like to ask those of you who played with my data pack if you'd like me to include these Pokemon in the base Paradox pack, or if I should make a separate data pack specifically for these Xenoblade designs. Either way, until next time, ciao!